Welcome to the Archotechs, a RimWorld fluid ideology series about pursuing the Archonexus. Episode 14, Smokescreen. To briefly recap last episode, we had an opportunity to provide a large amount of veils for honor. So we had Trustin trying to make as many other pieces of clothing that we could deliver for money now that Sven has attained a rank higher than Knight. We were also attacked by a large group of tribals, and I decided to trigger this Mech cluster in order to try to have the Mech cluster help defend us. Unfortunately for me, it didn't actually work all that well. I managed to kill most of these tribals myself without the aid of the turrets here, leaving us a centipede that I'm likely going to have to deal with at some point soon. The answer to this is probably a use of smoke launchers mixed in with sniper rifles, which means that Sven, when he gets home from the Caravan, is going to need to research precision rifling in order to make sniper rifles to take out the centipede. On our Caravan, we also got waylaid by bandits, and here they are. We have captured 2 of them. They tried to attack our Caravan, demanding goods, and I said no, and we smoked them. It's the easiest way to describe exactly what happened. So this episode, what I'm hoping to do is to convert these 2 prisoners and enslave them for development points, as well as convert Cobra, the only survivor of the tribal raids, and then enslave him as well. I don't believe any of these slaves are going to be permanent members of our community. They just don't have what it takes. But with that said, I'm happy to at least temporarily add them so that I might be able to donate them to the Shattered Empire for honor, or alternatively enslave and then execute for some additional development points. The border wall is not going to be possible for me to construct just yet, and the reason being that this turret, and all of these turrets I should say, sort of cover the wall building area, so it's going to be a little while until that is taken care of. And here we go, we have the group here coming home with the prisoners, and one of the things that I'm going to have to immediately do is to get another bed. So Sven and Sakura being brought to prison, where the slaves here are going to be put back to work. Now, the important thing here is to make sure that the zones that they're set on does not allow them to wander into the cluster, as that would be a very, very deadly event to have happen. So I think what I'm going to do is just be extra cautious and paint the whole top out of the map so that nobody bothers going up there, because I don't need a cleanup of gore because they wandered a bit too close to the flames. So we do have pemmican being researched, and we didn't end up using it because we live so close to our neighbors. But what I will do is, like I said, pivot to precision rifling and see if Sven can't get us some sniper rifles, because Trustin, given Trustin's capable crafting skills, should be able to make some pretty impressive sniper rifles for us. We also have an Insanity Lance, and as you might imagine, it would be very possible to just hit the Insanity Lance on the centipede and have the centipede rip up the mech cluster itself, but I'd prefer to keep and save the lance for rainy days. Alright, we are going to have a scenario where our guys are constantly going to try to wear the broad wrap, and that's going to be annoying. So what I'm going to do here is disallow broad wraps as a article of clothing that they can wear, and people should leave it alone. Taking a look at these prisoners, let's set them up to be converted. And then if we take a look at their needs and their ideologies, they're both female supremacists. And then this guy is a tribal flesh purity tunneler. And ultimately, we're just going to put in the hard work of converting them the slow and sure method. Now that everybody's home, another thing that I can do is trigger the leader speeches and the like. But I think I'm going to wait until these guys are enslaved, because the more participants that I have, the higher the likelihood of a positive outcome. I could get about 10 more expected quality. But actually, you know, I think I'm just going to trigger it now. 10%. I'd rather just roll the die on a possible negative outcome and then have it come off cooldown sooner. So let's go trigger that. And our development points went from 6 to 8. We're closing in on that. 14 needed. I could do an execution, but honestly, it would be better and more in my favor if I allowed them to convert first. In terms of wildlife, there's really not anything out here that I can sacrifice for the animal sacrifice. That's going to be an ongoing issue, especially on the map tile where we don't commonly get sacrificable animals. Boomlopes, of course, blow up in your face, and then the rest of them just, you know, aren't what we're looking for. So it was an inspirational leader speech, but no one actually got inspired, at least not yet. Hey, Slave 1, I don't believe that that is what you're supposed to eat. So let me fix that. Good try. Very good try. But I caught you. Red-handed. I can also hit Trustin with Work Drive. One of the things I'd like to do is to get something good out of the Thrumblefer again. Oh, we've got some megasloths. So one of the advantages of the megasloth here is the man-hunted animals will actually fight mechanoids if there aren't human targets to be targeted. So if I stick everybody into my inside zone, and my inside doesn't allow for them to be anywhere outside the walls, as you can see, these megasloths are sort of trying to chew on the mechanoids. Now, another thing that I could do, these megasloths move at about 4.8, and the only one that's going to be able to outrun them is Bunny, and only in the daytime. But I could try to have Bunny lure them appropriately as well. So I might end up doing that. And trying to use these megasloths to do some damage to the Mech cluster for me. Gee, look at all the potatoes. Alright, there is another trick here. And I just want to show you. Unfortunately, in order to trigger this trick, I am going to have to use some of my precious wood. But another trick that you can do is you can remove access to your base, which encourages the megasloths to then go attack the mechs. So I will show you that in action here. It's just very wood expensive, but it's worth showing. So the megasloths here are going to hang around where they think that they can get to us, i.e. the doors. All of the doors that we have. And the way this works is if you wall it up so that those doors are no longer valid, you'll see that these megasloths will slowly flush to the single door left that they think that they can reach us at. And then if we wall that one up, all of the megasloths will magically and I mean magically, push towards the mech cluster, because they're no longer going to be able to path to us, and instead of pathing to us... Oh. Whoa. That was not something I was expecting. The centipede actually actively coming at us. Maybe because of the flash storm or the inferno cannon setting a fire and it damaging the barricades. But in either case, we do have a centipede right in our farm, and these megasloths are going to go hunt for us. Oh, this is terrific. I don't really have to do any of the work. Well, now that the fight is afoot, man, that was so fortuitous. Let's go ahead and deconstruct and pop on out there. Go join it, because I'm pretty sure the sloths here are going to win. And I'll just start shooting at the winners. Well, fantastic. I really could not have asked for a better result there. And a lot of the battles that you're going to find yourself in RimWorld can be solved sometimes with just a little bit of ingenuity and patience. And now this centipede is downed, and I really don't have to do anything in order to kill it. Definitely killed itself. Unfortunately, all 4 megasloths were immediately rotten due to their Scoria chance. But I suppose it's fine. I wasn't really expecting to get a free meal out of it. Just the fact that it took out the centipede for me was honestly enough. And now that all that is left up here is turrets. So one of the things about the turrets is that they can be set up to not be able to fire at me. So the smoke launcher is a valid weapon for slaves to use, which does not cause the rebellion factor, because it's not really an offensive weapon. The same goes for like EMP grenades and EMP launchers and the wood that I demonstrated earlier. Except for wood is Neolithic, so they don't really like to use the wood. So Slave 3 is going to put down some cover fire for us, and then we are going to clear out that cluster so that it plagues us no more, and that will allow us to wall up our perimeter in the way that we wanted to. Alright, I do want to make sandstone blocks, and I'll do any slave drop on floor for that, because I'm going to need more sandstone to complete this wall. And this area here is safe, barely, but safe to travel in. So if we take a look at this turret here, nothing past here is safe, but we'll be taking this out shortly because this defoliator is soon going to spread to our territory, causing us a whole host of different problems. So tomorrow morning is Operation Destroy the Cluster. How are we going on this front? These prisoners here are really no closer to being able to be converted. Okay, well the conversion ritual is on a long cooldown, so that's not likely something we're going to do anytime soon. Taking a look at the moods, the alcohol withdrawal is honestly the largest factor in Slave 2's mood, and I'm not about to booze her up, so she's just going to have to suffer in silence, I suppose. We have a hunting work site not too far from us, but I'm not really strapped for food, so it's not something I'm going to need to venture out to do. Certainty will be coming down over time. So that part's done. And we're starting to stockpile the bodies up here. Perhaps to burn them. I'm not sure. Once Trustin and Sven is up, I'll make an effort to clear out that cluster. Now, I think probably the best approach is to come from the east, because we can get closer to this cluster coming eastbound, and then close the distance in like that. Trustin, I don't want you wardening anymore now that we have a warden, our warden's home. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, there's some other benefits that we can hit here as well. Zleb is going to use Marksman Command, and that's going to allow us to fire more accurately with less aiming time, which is going to be important for us to put down a cover of smoke. So we are, interestingly, reliant upon the slave to produce smoke for us to not be shot by the cluster. But it seems to go just fine. And we're going to creep forward. And let's all aim at the charge, the heavy one. And that will be coming down any second now. There we go. Alright, I think the defoliator's blocking our line of sight. Oh, we're just out of range, actually. And if you're patient and careful, you can just keep creeping forward where the turrets will never be able to see you. And you can take them out very, very, very safely. And they're done. I'm actually going to have Slave 3 keep the smoke launcher. Slave 3 doesn't have a shield belt, where the other two slaves do have shield belts. So he'll help us in future endeavors. Now at this point, let's go to the zoning. Remove a void. We don't need that anymore. And then let's paint this slaves able and allowed to travel back to this northeast quadrant. Because it no longer is dangerous for anyone. Cluster's gone. And there's a considerable amount of hauling to do. So with all of that done, let's go set up the perimeter wall that I wanted, that I was so rudely interrupted by the cluster. Looking good, trust me. Alright. In terms of decorations, I am going to set up some bulk skulls. So let's go ahead and move our skulls here. And this is so that we can have our sort of mood satisfied, supplying all of the skull spikes that our ideology prefers to have. So I just move the skulls closer to where I'm building them, so that Trustin doesn't have to haul skulls one at a time, piecemeal, but instead can do it in a larger batch. And then I'm having Zleb move the materials away, and he should be able to build that for us any minute now. Alright, Sven, and all of these non-constructors, these constructors that have terrible lack of skills, I'm gonna take off of the priority here. Now, if you're wondering about the scarification expected, I believe the scarification expected are the slaves that I never scarified that I since sold, but those alerts remain as a result. And I don't believe that there's really anything that I can do about that. Save for ignore it. So here's an interesting scenario. I left... Ooh, yeah, there we are. Weapon proximity. I left an ICLA on the smelter because I switched what batteries were plugged in. And this ICLA now is encouraging my slaves to rebel when left there. Which obviously is not something I want. What's funny is I can force the slave 1, if you watch this, we can force slave 1 to smelt that ICLA, and then that weapon proximity will disappear, and boom, now up to 5.8 years. Pretty funny, right? And if you're wondering why his slave rebellion is so high, it's because he doesn't move very fast, and he's very suppressed. And he's also pretty happy. A happy slave does not rebel at the same rate. The more, oh, so these prisoners here, yeah, they're not going to get anything. They're going to get nutrient paste. I've been feeding them like agave and stuff, and I was wondering about that, so let's fix that. So this seed protecting border wall is almost in place, and that's good because our Devil Strain is getting to the point where it's going to be harvestable soon. And we have a climate adjuster for pay. The climate adjuster likely is going to make it colder, I'd imagine. And the pay is pretty garbage, so I'm going to ignore that. Now, I did mention my desire to possibly do the pteropods, and that is still outstanding, and it expires in 1.5 days. I think what I'm going to do is try to get the border wall completely built before I trigger the pteropods, so that at least I'm a little protected from it. But then you also have to realize that I can call in aid, like a squad or a salvo, in order to help against a pteropod. But I think it would be very, very good for me to get precision rifling before I tried to mess with the pteropod, because the precision rifling is going to allow me to far more safely dispatch the large centipedes, which is likely to be the hardest part about the pteropods. All right, Bunny, I have a job for you. I'm gonna have Bunny start mining out that gold ore, because we do have advanced replication, and soon I'll be making advanced components for weapons, armor, and bionics. For an Architect win victory, or anytime you ascend the Archonexus, one of the things that is really important to note is that you only get to keep a certain amount of items. So investing in yourself, investing in skills and bionics, is a far superior way to be able to do the Archonexus quests. And that's exactly what I plan to do. I plan to maximize the bionics and the like so that we are as strong as possible. None of these skulls happen to be sacrificed. Sacrifice's skull still has not yet tapped. So let me set these skulls up. And then we'll continue making spikes and try to get Sacrifice Skull as a reminder to Dear Bunny not to befriend the slaves. All right, and the wall is done. Good. So one of the advantages of this complete wall is I can actually paint all of this as inside. I'm not going to add the weapon area because if I add the weapon area, that would allow slaves to be, inappropriately zoned and allowed to go into my weapon stockpile. But there we go. Inside has now expanded, and we have a bulk goods trader flying overhead. And it occurs to me, I really don't have any bulk goods that I want to sell them, but I'll trade anyway, because it's possible to buy... I was hoping to be able to buy wood, and I have. So I'm going to bankrupt myself buying this wood, I think. Nearly bankrupt myself, I should say. I still have some corsets to sell. Because I really don't have a renewable source of wood, so anytime wood is offered up as a resource, I'm going to jump at it. And there we go. Huge supply drop of wood, which is going to keep the braziers on, and it's also going to allow me to make some additional instruments and the like. Mech clusters nearly fully dismantled. And I have 22 hours to accept the next one. All 3 of these prisoners are now healed up, and my precision rifling is about 1,000. Now, I don't really have any other construction quests going on, so I'm going to set moving these skull spikes up to the highest possible priority so that my slaves can help. And with all these additional skull spikes around, you'll see skull spike ideology mood bonuses for all of our people that are of our ideology. Very handy to have. So it doesn't help our slaves because they're the ones sort of being suppressed, but it helps us, and that's what matters. And this is just the skull spikes in the immediate vicinity, so spreading them out the way I have is the way to do it. All right, I think what I'm going to do is have Sven come off of wardening duties so that he can focus far more on research. Because that's been slowing down the research. I'm not that comfortable with batteries so close to flammable wood, but hey, you know, you do what you gotta do. And hey, we also are going to be celebrating Trustin and Zleb's marriage. So one of the huge advantages of a marriage is that all that attend are going to be in an incredibly good mood for a very long time. Which is very handy if we're going to have a situation where people are going to get stressed out. Unfortunately, it looks... Sven? Okay, there you go. He's attending. And perhaps we'll get some inspirations out of this, besides Zleb's that she already has. So if you take a look, attended wedding... 10 days, 20 mood. The same would be true of Sven, who attended as well. And then Trustin and Zleb will have a plus 40 for the 30 days that they got married. 6 hours left to accept the quest, and I'm going to accept it for the orbital beam targeter. So, 5 snipers show up to help me through this. And I'm going to set them up, these 5 snipers, to be inside. I don't want them wandering around too much. And then I'm going to assign them nutrient paste so they don't eat my stuff. And then here, the mechanoids are arriving in the northeast corner. Interesting, very interesting that, what a weird layout. So this is weird because all the turrets are on the outside. And then all the mechs are on the inside, but the mechs are walled in completely. This is the strangest mech cluster I've really ever seen, ever. And that's not even an exaggeration. So, these guardians here, I'm just going to pull the trigger and start clearing this mech cluster because this mech cluster is extraordinarily easy to destroy. I have no idea what are in these capsules. But if possible, I would like to recover all of the unstable power cells because that is a significant amount of free power that I can use to power up my base. So the idea here is to use smoke launchers to take out all of the external turrets, and then we'll just see what is inside these mech capsules, and what will likely happen is these mech capsules will pop open, and the mechs will try to drill their way out of the area. Now, unfortunately, Zeb doesn't have Marksman Command, but what I do have is Combat Command with Sven. So I'm going to use Combat Command. Actually, let me fire here. You guys come on down. Oh, unfortunately, the snipers were out of position. Luckily, they can die without consequence, but I'm trying to get in this position. And it looks like the mechs that are inside... Okay, so there was a sizable amount of mechs inside, but nothing that I can't take care of. And I am going to slowly approach the rest of the turrets. I also have to be careful that the slaves or the guardians here don't fire on me, because it would be very easy for there to be some friendly fire. Okay, so 2 of 4 turrets taken out. Yeah, this is an extraordinarily easy quest. Oof. There we go. Now we're obscured again. And that's why they went first. Guinea pigs, if you will. All right, let's have them choke up so we don't have any friendly fire. Okay, so another thing to note is we have indeed punched a hole in the cluster because, you know, the wall got ripped off. So another thing we're probably going to want to do... I'll probably do this tomorrow morning, actually, not tonight. He's finished this off. There we go. So this is all done. Now that all remains is the smoke spewer and the mechs themselves with a hole drilled in. So what I'm doing is I'm having everyone come home, all of these guards that can die of no consequence, so that I can patch them up because they're slightly burned, and then we will head out tomorrow morning because Combat Command lasts for 24 hours. So tomorrow morning I should still have Combat Command as a possibility. And what I could do is I can use Slave 2 and Slave 1 with their shield belts as a means to keep them protected. So what we need to do here is the slaves need to stay away from this area up here. And then I'm going to paint a temporary avoid zone here. And then invert it and keep everyone from walking into that spot. So, avoid and avoid. Where is... Okay, just hauling chunks, that's fine. So of the remaining here, we have 2 scythers, 2 lancers, a whole bunch of pikemen. So the pikemen are going to be a little trickier to deal with because you can't outrange them with sniper rifles. And then a centipede. There's also work priorities to think about. So let me set up my guests so that they're not doing any work I don't want them to do. It's weird to think of it this way, but I actually don't want them to take over warming or anything like that, because they're just simply not going to do a very good job of it. I'll let them hunt, though. The certainty of some of these slaves, or prisoners, I should say, are just about 0. Strict and... okay, so if you take a look at them, they're a little upset because there's really nowhere to sleep. And I'll put a little spot for them to sleep in. Obviously, beds would have been better because it would wake them up earlier for tomorrow morning's attempt at the rest of the cluster, but c'est la vie. It is the way it is. I do now have hops, so I might also want to get a brewery made so that I can turn these hops into beer. I don't really have a dedicated spot for that, but I'll make one soon. Oh boy, you probably should not be constructing. Oh lord, no. Okay. And make wort, do forever. And probably the most temperature controlled room, let's say, is the research room. Because there's a heater in there. It's not likely to drop to a terrible temperature to ruin beer. So I'm going to put a few casks, a few fermenting barrels in there, and that will be good. Strict is trying to insult Trustin, which is honestly very annoying. And Bunny has converted beets. Alright, so let's go ahead and start to enslave beets. Trustin is throwing down on Strict. And we beat him unconscious. Okay, well, we are going to need to patch ourselves up real quick. It's very annoying that it turned into a social fight like that. That sniper rifle can be re-equipped. That does take Trustin out of this fight a little bit, which is obnoxious. But let's have the remainder of these guys get ready to start to clear. And we also had donkeys join, so Slave 3 is hauling the donkeys to my stockpile so that we can butcher them or something like that. And now Strict is actually getting patched up by Trustin. Trustin's sitting this one out because he's wounded. And he is now on a work frenzy. So what I want to do here is to punch a hole in this wall so that I can start to kill the mechs. So I'm going to have my snipers just shoot a hole while I park Bunny, Sven, and Trustin. Actually, Sven, your aura's going to be needed. Your radius. So I'm going to park Zleb and Bunny around the corner there. And then Slave 1 and Slave 2 sort of in front so they can absorb shots. And this wall will be coming down any second now. I'm actually having Zleb come back. So now we are actively fighting the mechs. And what I'm going to do is hit marksman command and have everyone back up and regroup briefly. Bunny, you stand there. These slaves are absorbing the ranged fire, and then everybody else is in one large cluster with the multiple overlapping accuracy bonuses. Sven and Zleb, I'm going to put in cover here so that they're harder to hit. Bunny, you need to dip. And then we are going to selectively target the more dangerous ones. And this is... I could probably even put Sven and Zleb in hard cover like this, as long as I nudge my snipers so that they don't lose the range bonuses. Bunny is... Now that they're not shooting at Bunny, she's poking around the corner and shredding. And then what I could do is once the Scyther gets close, I'll have my guys poke out and rip them out. And this is very, very straightforward combat. Alright, then back to cover. Alright, Strict is able to walk again. What a jerk. Okay, all that they have left is a Centipede, 2 Pikemen. I haven't even been hit, because I've been doing this very carefully. And now just the single pikeman. Let's nudge these guys up. And because we're so careful about surgically killing off this cluster, I think we're going to end up in a scenario where we get all of the unstable power nodes, which is phenomenal. So I'm bringing in my snipers a little bit closer. All that's left is that Centipede. And these snipers are obviously going to be able to range it. I'm just punching a little bit larger of a hole so that we can more easily fire on the Centipede. And Strict is up. And your sniper rifle gets re-equipped, even though you probably don't deserve it. Alright, here we go. Now we're fighting the Centipede. Slave 3, I don't want you doing that. Slave 3, you stay inside. And let's start falling back. Slave 2, you could probably take a knee. In fact, both of these slaves are going to take a knee. And by a knee, I mean they're going to leave. I don't really need shield belters anymore. Because if I do this correctly, this last mechanoid will never actually reach me. And then, Bunny, you are cloud watching? Okay. Interesting that you've decided to cloud watch towards the mechanoid. But you're tough and you live dangerously. I respect that. And Zleb and Sven here are just providing their ranged bonuses for the rest of the shooters so that we get both combat command and marksman command, which makes us far more accurate, landing hits on the Centipede reliably, even if these shooters are not particularly skilled, which some of them are sort of low skill. Okay, it's cleared. Now all that's left to do is to destroy, and Bunny, you can join with this, destroy the smoke spear, and that will deactivate this cluster because there are no turrets inside, and I'll be able to then claim all the unstable power cells for myself. Which means I need a spot to keep the unstable power cells. Probably the best spot for that, I am thinking, is going to be here along this wall, I think. So though I have 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3. Now maybe I'll pick a different spot. You want to keep them separate so they can't daisy chain together and blow up a sizable chunk of your base. You probably don't want them near the external wall, the external edges of the your base, because they could possibly get destroyed by sappers or stuff like that. So I think what I'm going to do is build sort of a hive network around here. Let's cut into this mountain so that I have more space to build the unstable power cell spot. And there it is, a second mech cluster. And that is all the time I have. Thank you for tuning in to episode 14 of the Archotechs Smokescreen. If you have any feedback or questions for me, please let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to chat about any of my content with me in real time, Rhadamant.com and the description of this video have a link to Discord. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons and my Twitch subscribers for supporting this channel. Farewell.